inside for the game. So let's go inside to see if Alabama and Michigan State's on property yet, guys. Make the switch.
Well, we are moments away from Alabama arriving. The stage is set. You've got Michigan State, a team who's won 3 games this year on the final play. Alabama, a dominant front seven. It's truly dynasty versus defense.
And the team is actually expected to arrive here momentarily to go through a little walkthrough, get acclimated. Of course, it sounds like the fans out there are a little crazier. It's still kind of quiet in here, but people are starting to roll in here. And of course, we're about 2 hours from kickoff. And I know that we're tired of talking about it. We're finally ready to see some action.
As soon as the bus gets in here, Nick Saban is scheduled to go straight from the tunnel off the bus. He's going to go on the field, walk around for his final preparations. And of course, you would expect that from Nick Saban, how meticulous this guy is. Game in and game out, you know he's going to have his guys prepared. And it's on a day, New Year's Eve, where a little bit of controversy, because last year, it was on New Year's Day. They're moving it back a day, and some people not very happy about it.
It's one of those things when you come into this situation, you think New Year's Eve, everybody wants to go out and celebrate and maybe watch a little football, but the question is how many eyes are going to actually be on this football game? And it was funny, yesterday when we talked to Nick Saban about it, he got that question. I knew instantly when he got that question what kind of response we were going to get from him. Of course, the football playoff, he's not concerned about that. He says if you want to watch, it's America, right?
Well, I think if they're interested, they'll benefit from it. I mean, they'll have time to do everything they want to do. They can watch the game, and then they can go do whatever they want to do. So I don't know why they're conflicted, but that's everybody's choice. I mean, I think that's why we have a great country.
Still waiting on the team as of right now. We're said they're supposed to be here. It's 5:03 right now. They're supposed to get here right around 5 o'clock. We know that they're probably getting ready to enter that tunnel and get ready to get their surroundings and bearings.
We're entering year number 2 of the college football playoff. BCS was a big controversy. They got 4 teams in. They got kind of lucky last year with Ohio State winning the whole thing. But there was controversy. So when there's controversy, there's always going to be people who want change, and we're seeing it already.
Yeah, absolutely. And the instant talk already was you go from 4 teams in the playoff. Everybody finally got that playoff, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, let's go to 8 teams. But when you look at things, I mean, bottom line.
Yeah.
Bottom line is you're never going to make people happy. You go from the number system to BCS, then you go to the committee, and you can't take that human element out of it.
So here's the question. Do you go to 8 teams from 4? We got the coaches' opinions.
Creates a lot of excitement for fans, and I think it's a very fair way to do it. I think if we play as many games as we play now and go to 8 teams, we're going to be playing too many games.
When you start to throw 8 teams in there, I think it's going to get a little bit even more muddled as you move forward. We have our championship game within our conference, which sort of served as a way to get into this.
And again, the committee, they got very lucky this year. 4 conference champions, no controversy this year, but we'll see what happens in the future.
I know, it always seems to somehow work itself out. Now, I know somebody outside, Jim Dunaway, has a few opinions on that. Of course, he's out there beating all the fans and the chaos that comes along with the fandom that is Alabama Crimson Tide football.
That's right.
You're watching WIAT CBS 42 News.
The Alabama Crimson Tide have arrived at AT&T Stadium. Nick Saban off the bus doing his first initial game preps for the Cotton Bowl. 364 days after Ohio State broke their spirits in the playoff last year, and this is all the team's thought about for the last 11 months, getting back to the playoff, improve. That dynasty that everyone said was dead is not dead. It started after that Ole Miss loss. They've built it up, and a win tonight in the Cotton Bowl can be one step further in that process.
The dynasty is not yet dead and gone. They've proven that to us, and that's just it. Proving that this team, that's what they've been playing with, that motivation all year long. They have a chip on their shoulder. They want to prove to everybody that this team can come out here and finish the job. That's what they've been talking about all season long. They're back here in this position once again. So what is so different about this team? There are a lot of guys on this team that were here last year experiencing the big stage. That is the college football playoff. So what exactly makes this team better or different than last year? Alabama defensive coordinator Kirby Smart gave us his thoughts on what separates this group from the pack.
It's unique in that there's a lot of good players on it, and they're kind of spread out throughout the defense. There's good secondary players, good linebacker players, good front players, but probably the biggest difference has been one of the most fun to coach. A lot of good kids. They like practicing. I mean, these guys enjoy practicing. They get out there, and I mean, there's times that we're not trying to go full speed live, and they're out there wanting to tackle, go after the quarterback.
Practice. Yes, we're talking about practice. I asked the players, they actually talk about how they try to keep loose. And really, these guys are a brotherhood. They try to joke around with each other, but at the end of the day, they've got to find ways to do this. And this is a team that has a lot of resiliency and a lot of leadership, but you can also see that on the other side of the football as well with Michigan State.
You know they're going to need that resiliency because Michigan State, there's one thing that defines this program for the Big Ten that Alabama's going to play, and it's the way that they won the Big Ten championship against Iowa a few weeks ago. Just ridiculous what happened in the last 9 minutes. They had one drive, 9 minutes, 22 plays. They went the entire length of the field, 82 yards, and they won it. 5 third-down conversions. Their longest play was 16 yards. They grinded their way all the way down the field meticulously. You know what that is? That's discipline. That's an example of the type of team Alabama is going to play tonight. The question is, can the Tide match it?
That's what Michigan State football is built upon. We're going to hold the ball and we're going to pound you. And, you didn't see it all the way at the beginning of the Iowa game, but that's what we do. We wear people down, and we're going to keep pounding. We're going to keep going after you. And we saw that at the end there. We weren't about to give up, and we saw our chance. We knew we had to take advantage of the possession right there. And
Old-fashioned Big Ten SEC football, that's what it's going to be about. And the old cliche, old school football, inch by inch, that's exactly what's going to happen here tonight.
Absolutely. Michigan State just now arriving on the field, getting ready for their walkthrough. We've got plenty more coming your way, but for now, we're going to send it back to studio.
We got an exciting evening ahead here in Dallas, outside of Dallas, actually in Arlington at the big stadium. Inside is Chris Brees and Lauren Sisler to get you ready for tonight's game on the field. Let's go inside with those guys to talk a little football. Guys?
Hey, Jim, yeah, quite a different atmosphere in here right now as we're just about an hour from kickoff here to the college football playoff semifinal, Alabama, Michigan State. Michigan State currently on the field right now as we speak. Alabama fans and folks lined up on the sidelines waiting for Alabama to make their way out for their final walkthrough here before this game kicks off at 7:10.
This is not even half full yet, and you can already tell. The playoff is such a better system than what we had with the BCS for the last 15 years. We actually just talked to SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey about that, and people saying, well, we should already be at 8 teams. It's so fun, let's put it at 8, but Sankey says, hold on, we're still at 4. We got to concentrate on that because this thing is just getting started, and it can even improve with 4 teams.
I talk a lot about 4 teams. I got to live in the now. People forget after last year, the conversation went to 8. We had one really successful year, and I think the focus is on 4 teams. There are a lot of compromises, give and take at the presidential level that have put us at 4, and it's proven to be a great thing so far, and I think it will continue to be that.
Truth be told, they were actually talking about an 8-team playoff before the 4 teams even set foot on the field for the playoff last year, but so it goes. You're never going to make everybody happy, but now when you talk about this Alabama football team that's getting ready to take the field tonight, there's something different about this team. Nick Saban this year getting a little emotional when he talked about this team, especially after the Georgia game, getting a little choked up, saying how this team has a certain togetherness about them.
Yeah, and the fact that you saw the way the Ohio State game ended last year in the Sugar Bowl in the playoff, this team this year, Saban already knows it's a different group. They feel more together. The goals are more in line with each other on the field and off the field. And Ohio State, we'll say it, they were a better team than Alabama was last year. You're talking about a 4-team playoff controversy. Ohio State deserved to win the national title last year. But this Alabama team, if they were to play Ohio State again this year, it'd be much different, and Saban knows it.
We've always had good players, and I think this year's team probably has better togetherness. Everybody's sort of committed to the same vision of what they'd like to try to accomplish, and the leadership has certainly reinforced that, and the other players have accepted the leadership and followed suit.
All about senior leadership, and we're going to see who has the better senior leadership here in about 45 minutes. Jim, back to you.
All right.
It's almost game time for the Crimson Tide at the Cotton Bowl, and AT&T Stadium is starting to rev up the energy level. Lauren Sisler and Chris Brees are live on the field. What's it like down there, guys?
Yeah, you aren't kidding, Lee. The energy level here has just gotten insane. I'd like to call it that. Alabama just entered the field here doing a little practice, warming up, getting ready for kickoff here in about less than an hour. And you can just feel between both teams, the crowds rolling in, that these guys are ready.
The energy's huge because these guys behind us are huge. Ryan Kelly,
huge, yeah.
The rest of this offensive line is a mammoth beast, but Michigan State's the same way. And you know what? You can win as many big-time games throughout the year like both these teams have all season long. But how do you really know when your team is ready for the biggest stage in the playoff? You spend an entire month getting ready for the same thing over and over. Nerves come in, a roller coaster of emotions, I'm sure. But if you're a coach, how do you know if your team has done everything possible to win this biggest game? We just talked with Nick Saban, one of his best friends, Jerry Pate, pro golfer, moments ago. He says they're ready.
Well, there's nobody in football a better coach than Nick Saban. He is the best. I've never seen a person work as hard, more deserving, works hard with the kids. You know, I've always said that even when Derek won the Heisman, you know, people forget he and Terry are their mother and fathers away from home when they're off at school. And so he deserves everything he gets. He works harder than any person I've ever met in business. And there's a lot of big-time business people I've met, politicians, you know, presidents. I've never seen a guy more focused than Nick Saban.
And Lauren, you said it this morning at breakfast. Everybody in the world is expecting Alabama to win the game. Is there anybody out there who thinks Michigan State is going to win? I mean, not even their fans have been saying, yeah, we're going to win. They've been saying, well, we're happy to be here. We just hope it's a close game. And that could hurt Alabama.
And based on the reaction from Michigan State when this seeding and the pool came out as to who was going to play Alabama, Michigan State's reaction looked a little grim. Coming into this, though, there's so many expectations. Alabama not able to finish the job 2 years in a row. So they know they've got to come in here. Nick Saban even said it this week. The expectations are so high. It's pretty much national championship or bust.
What is the key to victory for Alabama? I think it has to be do not turn the ball over. The one game they lost, 5 turnovers. Connor Cook, yeah, he's 34-4 as a starter. He's great. He could almost beat Alabama by himself. But if they do not have mistakes, Cook has never seen a defense of front seven like Alabama. And on the other side, this Alabama running attack, Michigan State, as good as they are on defense, they have not seen a running back as big and physical as Jay Coker and Derrick Henry, so that plays in their favor as well.
Absolutely. Who's going to be able to run the football? I also think this game may be a Coker versus Cook kind of game. Which quarterback is going to go out there and have the game of their life? You've got Connor Cook, who has an exceptional year. He's able to play under this kind of pressure. They've won some big games. Then you got Coker, who's not real flashy, but if he can get the ball downfield to his freshman Calvin Ridley, who we've seen him do it this year before, he has a chance to help this team win.
Coker has always been a game manager, but Connor Cook has to be a hero tonight. Coker does not have to be a hero. Connor Cook does. That is the big problem for them right there. If he can have time to throw, watch out. If he does not, and Alabama, we talked to some professionals here earlier, if Alabama can press on these receivers, they think they have an excellent chance to not even allow Connor Cook to have a morsel of a chance to win the game. And, you know, speaking of the college football playoff, if Alabama does win, they would play the winner of Oklahoma and Clemson going on right now. On the big screen, it's hard to miss. 30-17, Clemson with a lead over Oklahoma, but the game is not over yet. We'll see what happens in that one in the Orange Bowl.
Absolutely, and of course, a big game. It's New Year's Eve. Everybody's fired up, ready to go. And we wish everybody a safe and happy New Year's Eve out there. If you're going to go out and celebrate, whatever it may be, we'll send it back to studio.